So you're looking to start producing music from home, and just too many gear options and technical specs, and all you want to really do is just make music. Well, allow me to help you out. When shopping for music production gear, especially audio interfaces, the most important thing to remember is that below a certain price point, all of these interfaces are targeted at home studios. So what that means is they're all going to be competitively priced, they have similar feature sets, and sound quality wise, they're pretty much in the same ballpark. There are great offerings from Focusrite, Audient, SSL, Behringer, and other manufacturers. It almost doesn't matter which interface you pick, they all get the job done. So what you're really looking for is ease of use and how well it fits into your workflow. With MIDI controllers, it really boils down to personal preference and whether or not you play any instruments to start with. A pianist, for example, may need a keyboard controller with 88 weighted keys. If you make beats and use samples, a MIDI pad controller might better suit you. But if you're starting out, you're going to need something that covers most of your bases. So you're looking at a mid-sized keyboard controller with sufficient encoders for real-time control of your software instruments and DAW or DAW. I have with me here today the Komplete Audio 2 and Komplete Kontrol A49 from Native Instruments. The reason I've picked these two is because they are both really quick and simple to set up and very intuitive to use. They also come with all the software and virtual instruments you're going to need to get you going, so you'll be making music in no time. First up, the Komplete Audio 2. If you're new to music tech, what this is essentially a sound card. It gets sound in and out of your computer and is superior to whatever onboard sound card your computer comes with. It has two inputs with combo jacks, so you can plug in a mic or an instrument like a guitar or a synth to either one of the inputs. There is a version of this interface with one mic input and one instrument input, but in my opinion, always get an interface with at least two mic inputs. That second mic input will come in handy when you least know it. And for recording stereo sources, mismatched inputs means it's going to be hard to balance your left and right levels. So on the front panel here, you have your input jacks, gain knobs, line and instrument selectors, global phantom power, headphone jack with dedicated volume knob, and the input and host balance knob for direct monitoring. So what this does is it allows you to blend the level of playback from your computer and the mic or instrument input level before it goes into your DAW. So this means that you're monitoring your input in real time and you won't be hearing any latency or delays caused by the time it takes for the signal to travel from your interface into your DAW and back out again. And on the top here, you have the master volume, which controls your main speakers. And on the back, your USB port to connect to your host computer and two TRS jacks to connect to your speakers. Please make sure you check the available inputs on your monitor speakers and get the necessary cable. You will most likely need a pair of TRS to TRS or TRS to XLR male. Next, we have the Komplete Kontrol A49. This is a semi-weighted 49 key controller. I feel this is an ideal size for most applications. 25 keys can be a bit limiting and 61 keys takes up quite a bit more space. There's a mod wheel and pitch bend on the left, along with the octave selector. Over the top, you have the function buttons, the transport buttons, the OLED display, and preset navigation. And in the middle here, there are 8 touch-sensitive knobs. What's great about these is that they are mapped to the NI, Komplete, and NKS plugins. So as long as you're using the bundle software, you're going to have real-time, hands-on control over the instruments right out of the box. No setup required. And over on the right, you have the preset browser, the plugin and track selector. Okay, let's take a breather for a moment. If you're new to this, these are a lot of knobs and buttons to deal with, and they can be quite intimidating. Just remember this or any other MIDI controller is really just a glorified mouse. Each key and knob or button is mapped to a specific function on your software, which makes it much more intuitive and hands-on than just, using a mouse. It also saves a lot of time. Trust me, I've arranged and programmed entire songs note by note with a mouse. It's very time consuming. As you get used to it, you can dive deeper and access a lot of cool functions within this controller. But as I said earlier, everything you see here is pre-mapped, pre-programmed, so you can just plug it in, dive straight into making some great music. Okay, I'm going to explain a little bit about setting up your interface and controller. So in the packaging, you'll find a card with the setup instructions. Generally, it's already plug and play. It's really easy to set up. What you want to do is go to the website. It will lead you to downloading native access. Once you have native access loaded, you will see the screen here, the installed products, the available updates, and whatever you have available to you but have not yet installed. It's all down here, so you can download and install it right from the app. For your controller and for your interface, you will have to register your product. So you click on add a serial right here. Click type in the serial number as you as stated on the card, and follow the on-screen instructions, and you should be good to go. I've got everything already set up. So once you've got this up and running, what you want to do is to launch Komplete Kontrol at least one time to make sure that everything is set up and configured before you start using it in your DAW. So let's give it a while to load. It's going to search through all your plugins and all your other VSTs, so it might take a little while. There you go. So this is your Komplete Kontrol software. The first thing you want to check is to go to your edit preferences. You want to make sure that under the Midi tab you have Komplete Kontrol checked here. There we go. So let's check out the A49 in action. I have here Cubase loaded up, but this works with almost any DAW. It's really simple. You just have to check out the documentation to make sure it's all set up and configured properly. So let me just show you the overview of so you set up a new instrument track, select Komplete Kontrol. Now you will have most of your native instruments VSTs within Komplete Kontrol, and that enables the keyboard to access the browser. So you add a track. There we go. Just turn that on. To start off, click on browser on your keyboard. This takes you to a you can see the tabs right over here on the OLED screen, or you can look at the screen. You can select between instruments, loops, and one shots. Let's stick with instruments for now. To select, just click on the encoder. Alright, so that takes you in, and everything is set up by category. So under products you have all your different instruments. Alright, let's just click an instance of Monarch. Under Monarch you have types, so you got basses, brass, drums, piano keys. Let's go for all, right? And it's further refined by characters. So you've got airy, analog, chord, digital. So it's a really comprehensive way of organizing your sound. So if you're looking for, say for example, a airy pad sound, you can easily find it using these filters. Let's go for analog. So now it goes to all your presets. Now what's really cool here is that as you turn the knob, you're gonna hear the sound. So that gives you a really quick preview of what you're going to be working with. So you just pick a sound that you like, say this one, Blues Sunday. Let's go with this. Click, and it loads up. And there you go. You got your sound right there, and you can tweak it. So what these encoders do here is it gives you real-time control over parameters. Now for Monarch, it's not really mapped out to this, but it's quite intuitive once you get used to it. Like this, the first one for example is the cutoff and the resonance. The third one is the contour of your filter. So you've got your first three knobs controlling your filter right there. If you're not sure what it's doing, you can just look at the OLED screen. As you touch it, it tells you what each of the knobs do. So you can record MIDI, you can control all of this real time. Now let me show you something where it's a little bit more mapped out. So go back to browser. You can just move your encoder to the left, it goes back. Now go back to instruments. Let's pick the play series. Let's just go to all. Right. So these are the newer VSTs from Native Instruments, and as you can see, the knobs actually correspond to what you see on screen. So when you hold the chord down, you have your 9 encoders here, and it corresponds to the knobs that you see on screen. So it's a lot easier to visualize. It's a lot of real-time control that you have with this. Let's pick a sound that's a little bit more. Yeah, that's cool. So you have a lot of real-time control that you can play around with, just have fun with it. Now let's try out some other features of this controller. Let's say we wanna just get a bass sound. Alright, cool. So let me show you the up function. So when you click up, you're gonna get a built-in arpeggiator. Shift up gets you into the arpeggiator settings, right? So you've got the up mode and you've got a note repeat mode. Right now it sounds about the same, but in note repeat, all it does is it repeats the note that you're holding down. So you've got your get a rate knob here that tells you what increments you want your repeat to be in. This by default corresponds to your host tempo. So right now Cubase is running at 120 BPM. Now on up mode, you're going to hear the difference when you go into sequence settings. And you've got lots of cool features. Yeah, so that's arpeggiator. So you can play around with a lot of preset sequences. You got your swing control, you've got dynamics, you got gate. Yep. Another really cool feature is the scale mode. So let's find a nice piano sound or something along those lines. So you got the piano keys. Alright, that sounds cool. Still got up mode on, if you don't want that for this. There we go. Alright, so in scale mode, of course, shift scale to edit. You've got a feature where it allows you to not hit the wrong note. So if you're not too familiar with how playing the keyboard, you're not so well trained, this is a great way of quickly coming up with ideas. Or even if you have music theory background, it gives you ideas that you might not have otherwise thought of. So we are in C. We're going to go to modes. We'll pick Ionian, that's the major scale. So in a mapped mode, what happens is when you hit the wrong note, it's just going to give you the next correct note. So it's almost impossible to go out of key. Or or you could go to easy mode. What this does is it disables all the black keys. So everything's on the white key. So you're gonna hear this way more when you go to a different mode, like say, let's do Phrygian. Yep. Another cool function is the chord mode. It gives you auto chords. So it's a really cool way to come up with like chord progressions and ideas. You don't need any music theory to figure this out. And like I said, even if you do know music theory, it just gives you ideas that are kind of out of the box that you wouldn't otherwise think of. Not everything is great out of the box. You got to play around with it, but it's a useful feature to have. All right. Yeah. So let's try to make something. Let's try to make a song. So I've got some tracks already preloaded in here. And let's see, we got a kick drum loaded here. Let's find the right octave. All right, that sounds cool. Let's track that one. Let's go. All right, quickly quantize. Okay, let's just trim the edges on that one. Duplicate that. Cool. Let's add the snare now. This sounds cool. Quickly quantize that. See what we got. All right, let's do some hats now. So for hats, what I have is an ARP setup. No, actually I've got a note repeat going on. Yep, that sounds cool. So let's record that one. All right, let's quantize that, trim that down. Now you need to know that when you have ARP mode on, your MIDI trigger needs to be a long sustained note, so you can just adjust that in your MIDI editor here. Let's see. All right, cool. I've got a bass. Right, so I've got an ARP set up here to a sequence. Let's see what we got. Yep, I messed that up a little bit, but it's okay. We can quantize that And let's fine tune the start points a little bit. Alright, won't need the second half. See how that sounds. It's a bit of overlap there. Yep, there we go. Now let's add some more. Let's add a synth. Let's just loop this. Let's try to come up with a nice riff. Yeah, something like that. Let's get that down. Alright, let's quantize that really quickly. Trim the ends. There we go. Yep. Let's do one more. Right, let's see. So I've got this on note repeat with a gate set really tight. Let's try to figure out some cool parts. Yep, something like that. Let's get this down. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to quantize that because that's quite tight. Let's see what we got. Yeah, so you could keep going at it until you know, you've got your parts that you want. It's really great way to come up with ideas, and of course once you have all the tracks down, you can tweak it, you could edit stuff, you could change the arrangement around. But yeah, it's a great place to start, and right out of the box you'll be making music in no time. And there you have it. We had a look at the Native Instruments Komplete Audio 2 and the Komplete Kontrol A49. I didn't really mention too much or go too much into detail with the audio interface because as I said, at this price point most interfaces does the job. It does what it says on the packaging, so you don't really have to worry too much about it. With a MIDI controller, there's a lot more features for you to play around with. This is going to take a bit of time, but as you saw, it's really easy to just plug it in and get started making music. As you play with it more, you're going to find a lot of cool features that you can have a lot of fun with. So if you're interested in these products, you can check the link on the description below. You can buy it directly from Music Bliss, and if you use the promo code PULSE2OFF, you can get an additional 2% discount off your purchase. There you have it. I hope you found this video informational and it helped you make a decision, and see you next time. Bye bye.